What's going on? Got another video for y'all. That boy Sebek Houdini back in effect. About to give y'all another magical wisdom, informative information that I think everybody should know, especially for this next topic. And what I want to talk about here today is just the foundation of what people consider like is their hustle. Because you might get in a you might get in a partnership with somebody who has a business or whatever. And you might notice that the way that they move and the way that they handle situations and get things done, it is not on the same pace and the same, like, y'all don't move at the same tandem, basically. You're going to notice that a lot. And then what really makes me question this is just when I look at the foundation of how a lot of people really, wanted to ever like do things for themselves. Just think about when you were a kid. Think about that one friend whenever you guys used to cut grass, he would be the one that complained the most, or he would be the one that never really wanted to cut the grass, but always would be trying to get the rewards and the benefits of whenever you guys would get whatever you could from doing it. I'll give you an example. We used to wash cars and cut grass every summer when I was young. We used to do this every summer, and some people did it for different reasons than others. Some people did it because they wanted to just have money to go to the movies whenever we used to go watch, movies during the summertime. Some people did it because they wanted to go have some money to go to Six Flags. Some people did it because they wanted to have some money to buy some Jordans or something. And others may have did it because they needed school clothes. I did it for a variety of a lot of reasons, but a lot of the times I did that and would cut grass, and a lot of my money was spent on going to the movies. I remember every time we would do that, we would always get enough money just to go see a movie, and then we would all go see it that night and just have a good ass time. And those were the days. But everybody did it for their own intent. And when I look back on that, my hustle. I've done so many different things, but I've always have just been able to kind of move on my own and do things for myself, and then bring whatever resources I've collected on my own to the group, so that we could eventually multiply that. But, it's sort of like the ant and the grasshopper fable. It's like you might bring more to the table than somebody else because they don't move at the same pace you move at. They don't know how to get things done like you know how to get things done, and it's, of course, as you guys have been obviously hearing on the last couple of videos in regards to selling to your independence, we always discuss personal experiences regarding this. And I'll talk about my personal experience with this when I was in college. And I remember I was in the film club in my last year in college, because that year I had just purchased all my equipment. I was working on my short film, Mr. Clean's Dudes, and I was almost in the process of getting everything finished. But I figured that maybe I could have, got somebody to help me, like basically intern with Scorpio&Sebek, and then maybe help me with some writing, help me with some film work and some editing stuff. And at the time, I was going to get some people to do that. That was a part of the group. But when I was in that group, a lot of them were trying to abide by all these rules and regulations, and, you got to have a permit for this, and, we should plan this out and ask this guy permission for that. And it's just all these different things that's hindering the process of actually getting the job done. And I remember when I first joined that group, for the first few weeks, I remember we had to draft a screenplay about this film that was about this kid basically who was on the basketball team. And he had known about he was trying to get back at his girlfriend who had dated one of his best friends or something like that. And he was trying to do something to get back at her, and then ended up doing something to embarrass himself by wearing a green suit. And I remember the whole movie was about basically the guy trying to get back at his girl, but it was surrounded around this green suit. So we were trying to write a script where everything was going to be basically formatted around that. And I was like, okay, I've worked on a lot of crazy ideas. So, what the hell? This ain't nothing really new to me. But when I was working and doing that night, I remember everybody was supposed to email me their input onto the screenplay, because it was on this I don't remember what it was, but it was either a software or an app or something. but I remember it was like a software where everybody could like basically see how far you were writing into the screenplay and then add their own beats and stops and stuff to it and, and go from there. So when I did that afternoon, nobody was, getting on the thing and actually putting their input to it. So I was like, okay, now the way I work, I'm used to getting things done on my own. I could literally write this whole screenplay tonight. And that's exactly what I did since nobody wanted to contribute. And then all of a sudden that was an issue because it's like, oh, well, everybody has to contribute and we're all a part of the group and we all have to have input and insight into this and all this stuff. But when it was time for everybody to do their role, when it was needed, they didn't do it. So I went ahead and just took over because that's how I'm used to handling things. And, and some people just have different ways on how they get things done. You got some people who don't mind, being told what to do. And they don't mind being, being the person that's sitting around and waiting for somebody to tell them what they need to do so they can just show up, play their little role and get whatever little benefits they can get from it. But I've just never been that person. I've never had the opportunity to be that person. It's like whenever something had to get done on my end, I always had to be the one to manifest the idea. I had to gather the resources to generate the idea into reality. And then I had to actually execute everything on my own. So I'm just not really used to being that person. I've never had that opportunity. So I've never really known how to do a project without doing all that stuff on just Rambo mode, and I'm not saying the Rambo thing is, what I want to do but you want to it's good to at least have experienced it. I think everybody should do the Rambo thing at some point. If you're trying to run a business, you're going to have to. You're going to have to do it. I mean, with my cleaning business, I did it. I'm getting to the point now where I'm about to really start, like allowing other subcontractors to take that stuff over for me. And I'm about to actually go into, property preservation and do like some renovation stuff too. So, and all that stuff I'm having other people doing that for me. I'm just going to receive the profits from that and then put that into the stuff I'm doing with Scorpio&Sebek universe so that I can start producing these short films, these feature films, the documentaries, and start really executing, putting out more and more projects and more events and stuff I want to do with Scorpio&Sebek. And then of course sell this merchandise. That's going to allow me to do this much faster. But, I have to do that with this system, but I'm not about to do all that stuff on Rambo mode by myself. Like, screw that. I've already done that. And I feel like once you've already been through that, it's nothing else you really need to do to keep doing that. You might as well hire somebody to do some of that stuff for you. And the same with my merchandise. It's like, I'm going to start out, of course, I'm sitting at the booth selling it, but I'm not about to be selling this, sitting at no booth selling this stuff all day. I'm going to have some female, that's there because that's mainly who it's going to be targeted towards. And then, she's going to be the one that's doing all that stuff. And that's going to be the role she has within Scorpio&Sebek universe, so that's why I really do say that you got to really look at and understand what people's, intent of success is going to be for. Like some people want it for money. Some people want it for women. Some people want it just to say that they in that position or they doing something around a certain group of people, but they may not want to put in the work for that success. They may just want to be there for that role of just saying, I'll just follow whatever you need me to do and then just get the benefits from it and be straight. So everybody wants success for different intentional purposes. And you really, really got to see what that purpose is with everybody. I reveal myself, my intention for purpose. I mean, of course I want to have the money for this, but I really want to build an idea of supremacy because everybody likes to go around and talk about white supremacy and all this stuff. And, and I feel like if somebody is not so selfish and they know how to honestly, effectively communicate ideas with people. And then they don't really have this idea of like, I'm just going to get it for me and make sure I'm good kind of mentality. And they understand once that they are in the position they need to be at, that they can be straight and put somebody else in a position to where they could get where you are. And actually that will make you more money. Once people start realizing that, then, then we'll understand this idea of supremacy a little bit better. But that's just not about to happen with these type of Negroes we got out here today. Like a lot of these people are damaged. A lot of these people are extremely, thinking in a very low carnal animal state. So it's just not really from the way that, things are just looking right now in this game. It's just not looking good, in this quarter. So unless it's going to be like a miraculous comeback where people are just going to really start catching on to this stuff and changing their patterns and how they live, it's just not going to happen. but I can at least create the idea of supremacy within, what I'm doing. I can't, expect the whole entire race to do that, but at least for what I'm doing and what's going on in my aspect of life, I could control my idea of supremacy with that. It may not be for the entire society yet, but at least for what I'm doing, I can do that. And what I'm doing single-handedly with Scorpio&Sebek universe is going to be very effective. So, I could accept that. But the only reason anybody's going to even have that opportunity to do that is based on what I'm doing right now. If I was just thinking so selfishly about, oh, I'm going to just do, this brand so I could get a house and a car and everybody could look at me and say, this is what he got and I'm straight and y'all not. Like, if I was just thinking about it for that purpose, then I would already have success now, honestly. But because I'm not thinking about it for that purpose and I am thinking about it for the purpose of supremacy. And once I get to a position, I can rise 50 other people to be in the same position I'm at, or at least close. Then it's going to take me a little longer to do this, and that's just honestly what success comes with. It comes with patience. And then it comes with you having to be in Rambo mode, and that's just how it is. But you got to understand how people move. And you might be thinking, I'm going to just be, I might be doing my thing, but I'm going to, get some other guys that's like-minded and then work with them and we going to all come together. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with thinking that. But, even with the like-minded individuals, like if they don't have that certain tenacity in them to want to get things done, then it's just going to be, to me, it's just as, it's just as hard working with somebody that's like-minded, that's lazy, as to be working with somebody that's lazy and don't have an idea of how to really strategize something. So it's like you gotta have both worlds if you're gonna try to get stuff done. Of course, you would rather deal with somebody who is like-minded but isn't lazy. Somebody that's like-minded but maybe a little lazy, than it's somebody who's just completely uninformed and they got a little, but they may have a little bit of a hustle in them. You could use somebody like that, but you still want somebody that's like-minded because you're never going to be really able to expand on your ideas. That person that's going to want to hustle, all they're going to want to do is just be ready to do whatever you need them to do when it's time. But somebody that's like-minded can come up with a strategy and a system that's going to be able to generate more income for you. And it's not going to rely on the source of you having to be around other people. Whereas that hustler is just going to be somebody that's around you ready to basically go when the green light shows. And that's just the difference between being a businessman and a hustler. But, my foundation of just knowing how I hustle, like I said, is I don't really consider myself a hustler. I've always considered myself a businessman because I can sit here and be patient about not making money. If I'm not making money, I'm not tripping about that. As long as I know my plan is being implemented and it's going in the direction it needs to go in, it's not really a big deal if I'm not generating no income right now or as much income as I would like. I'm cool with that as long as the plan is in effect. And that's all I care about. And see, that's the difference between a hustler and a businessman. A hustler will be mad about the fact that he ain't making enough money. A businessman, he may be mad. He may be a little irritated that things may not be moving fast enough with his business. But a true businessman ain't really going to be that affected as long as he knows that his plan is in effect. As long as he knows that every day he gets up, nothing is stopping whatever he's put in effect and it's going and continuing and in motion. He ain't really tripping about what's going on. He may not be making too much money right now, but it's still not that big a deal. But a hustler is going to be always impatient. They going to always feel like things ain't moving fast enough. And then for somebody like that, you going to kind of wonder sometimes, well, if I'm doing business with this guy and he seems to be very impatient and real erratic about doing this, what is he really trying to be in this shit for? It's going to really make you question that. And that's why I'm glad that, when I did Scorpio&Sebek, like I've said, before, you guys have seen me doing this stuff for years. I ain't been having no help doing this. I've been doing this on my own. And I really am glad that it's been like that because that allowed me to really see how I want things to really go. Like for me in this thing, like, and it just took long enough for me to, to realize that. But shit, I'm glad that I did this like this because now when I start actually hiring people and putting them in the positions where I need them to do certain things for me, I know how they need to do it because I played that same role for years, doing my reviews and doing my other film projects. So I know exactly what they're going to have to deal with. I know exactly how they need to do it. And that's going to be the benefit between, I guess having that grinding and that what they call a hustler mentality within your business strategy by you playing all those roles. So you know what the best of each world is. And when all those ideas are culminated together, what they can manifest. But this is Sebek Houdini. It's Scorpio&Sebek universe, selling to your independence, and always understand what your true grind is behind your business hustle. And understand that with everybody else that's involved with your business or your brand as well. Because if you don't be aware of that stuff, it could be either the cause of your failure or it could be the cause of your success. It just all depends. But this is Sebek Houdini. I'll catch y'all later.